Caviar Dreamers.
Hey, Caviar Dreamers. What's going on today?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. Marge would like to turn on the light afterwards and or take some time to talk about her hair color that she feels may have a tinge.
I don't know why. I just feel like, am I using too much purple shampoo? I don't know what's going on, but I have a little bit of a feeling. I'm wearing a nice little weave today, so it's okay. But I don't know. I'm just feeling muddy.
Muddy?
I need to be bright and shiny.
That's a good goal for the day, to be bright and shiny.
Yes. Well, we're going to be bright and shiny because we have on two fabulous men, Joey and Alan from Two Guys from Hollywood.
Yes, the podcast. They have an amazing podcast. And they are, truthfully, they are Hollywood royalty legacy, because when you read their bio, sounds like the life you could dream of. You know, grandparents that own nightclubs and restaurants, and parents that were actors and dancers, and very exciting life.
Yes, and Joey Santos, he has many clients, though, one of them being Brad Pitt,
yes.
Private personal chef to Brad Pitt.
What's wrong
I'm
with
not
that?
going to ask a lot of questions about that because Brad's very private, but, I think that's very, very impressive.
Sorry, that was Brad Pitt, just making sure we weren't talking about anything we weren't supposed to.
Yes, he's texting Lexi as we speak. And Alan, very big, amazing agent in the publishing world.
Yes, big literary agent, huge famous clients.
Yes, he is exclusive to this podcast. We're going to find out. He has a big book coming out in June.
He does.
With some major gossip in it. So we're excited about that. And they decided to do this Two Guys from Hollywood podcast. I mean, there's a lot of famous men coming out of Hollywood, but these guys grew up in Hollywood.
Yes, they've seen it from the inside.
From the inside, they've had some amazing guests. We're going to shoot that shit.
We're going to talk about some pop culture, some current events, their life, and some great advice from their storied, fabulous careers as two guys from Hollywood.
Let's get Joey and Alan on. Joey and Alan!
Hello!
Caviar Dreamers, we're very excited to have.
Very excited. It's
to have
so
Joey
nice
and
to meet
Alan.
you guys.
It's nice meeting you
And
as well.
too.
Tell everybody what your podcast is called, because I want them to know you guys are best friends since you're young.
Yes.
Your own podcast, and we're going to talk about all about your careers. But Two Guys from Hollywood.
Yep, Two Guys from Hollywood. That's it.
Two Guys from Hollywood. They're not just Two Guys from Hollywood, but they have a podcast called Two Guys from Hollywood.
And literally, I just zoomed from the studio. I just got in my Maserati and I got here in record time. I made it in 15 minutes.
I didn't want you to rush. I didn't want you to rush.
No, doesn't matter.
Okay.
From Culver City, it's just amazing that I got from Culver City to the Hollywood Hills in 15 minutes.
Okay, so I just want everybody to know I met Joey through Dolores, but he's not just friends with the Marge and Dolores. He happens to be the chef too. Tell everybody.
One of my clients, my main client is Brad
clients?
Pitt, which I just left him right now to get
Brad
here.
Pitt. And just point blank, Brad Pitt. He eats very healthy. Does he eat very healthy?
Yeah, he eats well. And but he's got a great metabolism and a great physique, so he pretty much can eat what he wants to eat. And I keep him healthy and organic. But we have cheat days.
Okay, good. Cheat days.
That's good.
And we
Cheat
have
or cheat.
cheat days.
Cheat.
I'm all about a cheap day and a cheat day. That's it. And then Alan.
Yes.
The most talented book agent, superstar. You've been agent to many people.
Yeah, but one of them wasn't you.
No, I know, and I don't know why that's the case. And I know my book went to Simon & Schuster, which is coming out in a few weeks. But you'll do my next book. You'll do my next
To a
book.
publisher who I absolutely adore, Jen Bergstrom.
Yeah, Jen Bergstrom's amazing. Yes, I hope you're going to love my book, because then we'll do another book with Marge Sr. But,
yeah.
Well, I'll love it. As soon as you send me a signed copy, I'll love it more.
Yes. By the way, I haven't even seen the book totally done. I mean, the manuscript, I wrote it, but it's not printed yet. It's coming out April.
Right, you haven't seen a finished book.
I haven't seen a finished book.
We're on a 2-week countdown for that now.
Yeah, 2-week countdown. So as soon
Yeah,
as we
because your
get
pub
it.
date is what, May or something?
No, April 13th.
That's
Oh,
my
April 13th.
birthday.
Oh, so it's a lucky day
good
for
day.
me.
Yeah, and I'll be in New York. We'll celebrate together.
Tell me how you guys decided that you wanted to do a podcast, because I just want everyone to know you guys are old friends since you're young. You were on the club scene together.
Oh,
Right?
that's a whole other episode.
That's a whole other story. No, I mean, which is great. You guys have been friends for years, for decades.
Yeah.
Your careers, you're in Hollywood. You're around a lot of celebrities. Your careers went, you're in publishing. Yeah, Joey, you're the most unbelievable chef. Different directions. Your friendship has remained true. What made you guys want to do a podcast?
Well, someone actually made that decision for us because I was at a radio convention with one of my clients in Dallas, and the whole media company was there, and we were all talking about something I remember, and two of the girls there said, oh, Alan should have done radio. And they all kind of stopped and stared at me. And the next thing I know, the agent that I share this client with had set up a studio here in LA, and he said, I really think you should go in and we'll try to do a podcast. And I said, oh no, I don't want to do a podcast. I have no interest, and who would listen to that? And he said, no, I think you should go in. So I didn't want to do it by myself. And I thought, well, who would be fun? And of course, Joey was the first person that came to mind because I thought we would be funny together. And we went in and we sort of laid down these tracks and we sent it off to the agent. And I literally did not think another word or another thought about it. And I know Joey was telling people, oh, we're doing a podcast. And I said, shh, because if no one buys it, you're going to be really embarrassed.
I'm a positive thinker.
and literally like 4 or 5 weeks passed without a word. And suddenly I got a call from my friend and he said, I've sold your podcast to Dan Patrick and his new Dan Patrick Podcast Network under iHeartRadio. And I said, that's nice, but I don't want to do anything for free. I'm not doing that. And he said, oh no, there's a bunch of money attached. And here we are.
I know, look, and there you sign the line. Well, no, well, so you guys have a different perspective. I mean, there's so many different kinds of podcasts out there. What do you guys want to tell everybody? Because I think so many people want to start a podcast and you guys have a history together. And I think that's what's impressive. And I feel like a lot of people ask me, like, what do you want to do? I think you have a different perspective. I just want to talk about that because it hasn't been out there that long and it's taken off.
Yeah, so we're only on our eighth week.
On our 8th week,
so our 8th podcast.
And our contract is quite large. I mean, we have to produce 50 shows within this year. And then we have, a couple more years attached to that. So, I mean, we have a lot of work to do. And I think, but the good thing about it is that we approached it as we approach our daily life with the way that we live and work and the way that we entertain. And so our conversations don't have to be limited or they don't have to be geared. I mean, with our title, Two Guys from Hollywood, it's just who we are. But that doesn't mean every conversation literally has to do with Hollywood or a celebrity or something. It just has to do with something of interest. And it could be in that moment of that day, of that week, or that person. And it's really about joining a conversation, I think, more than interviewing people. It's sort of like a subject. And Lord knows there's enough stuff going on in this world that we can have an opinion about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, but an opinion that we can come away with going, well, I learned something, you know what I mean? Or I saw it a little differently, not judging it. And we're trying to get away from that in our world right now anyway, about finding some commonality so we can heal from all of this madness. And if we can do it with a little bit of a sense of humor, a little bit of irony, and a little bit of, kindness, I think we have a better shot. And maybe people would want to listen to that just so maybe they can emulate it some way.
We love our most recent podcast. It's with Suzanne DePass. And so it's not us interviewing her other than, of course, we're asking her about her past and how she discovered the Jackson 5, etc. But it was really a conversation about Hollywood and, and the complaints about Blacks not being portrayed or being portrayed in a certain way. So it was really interesting to have her on and let her discuss that subject of how she felt about being a Black female producer and the first probably big Black female producer in Hollywood. And it was interesting to hear her take because it's quite different than what you would think.
And she wrote Lady Sings the Blues. I mean, her resume is unbelievable. The years of Motown with Diana, right under Berry Gordy, and so many interesting stories. And the wonderful thing about her is that we have a personal relationship with her as well. But we're very respectful because, like we say, we don't dish, we serve. And what we want to do is serve you in your best light. So if you want to dish and do all that stuff, we love that. But we're not here to do that, And when we asked her, is there anything that you don't want to talk about or should be leave? And she said, absolutely not. She says, I'm completely open. And that just shows you, and that even gives you even more respect for that person. So you don't go to that lower place. You go right in the high place because that's where the person is coming from. You know,
Although with you, we're going to want to hear all about
we want
your
all the
sex
dirt.
life.
And with us, I'm interviewing you, so I have to hear about all your stuff. You guys
No,
got
we're
to
interviewing
Your
you.
show's going to be a lot long. It's going to be a long show. We're gonna go
Oh,
down.
you're interviewing me all about my sex life? Well, it's always
I'm
in the
married
morning.
now.
I'm going to give you a heads
What's
up.
that
It's
like?
always in the morning because I don't like to be squeezed after dinner.
No, never.
That's a fact. I don't like to be, I like to eat a lot, so I don't like to be squeezed after dinner. It's always on a full stomach. So we like to, I'm just going to say we like to have sex in the morning. That's a fact, right, Lexi?
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah,
Don't show up to
Yeah,
work too early.
Yeah, don't show up to, because all the girls, we work out of the house and, I don't like, and no one can come in too early because, we like to linger in bed. And weekends are
Not
really,
loudly.
yes, weekends are really the best time. I like to stay in the bed late.
Yeah,
Or if I
don't
have
go
to get
early.
up and have coffee, we go back to bed.
Yeah, that's the best actually. Get up, have breakfast, have coffee, then go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh.
brush your
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah, brush your teeth. You're never too full.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like a
So-
weird thing about them. Like, oh, my stomach, I feel fat. I want to feel good. I want to feel light and airy and, bouncy.
Yeah, the excuse used to be not tonight, honey, I have a headache. And now it's not tonight, I have a stuff. Not
I'm
tonight, I'm bloated.
Yeah, not tonight. I'm bloated, or my eyelashes are falling off, or my wig is half on. One of those situations. I mean, the poor guy who he has to wake up with is a disaster.
Yeah.
I can't even take it.
That's not who we went to bed with.
Yes, it's not very much. So now I'm going to ask you. So Joey, I know you're working on a new movie. I think we spoke about that 8 weeks ago. How long are you going to be working on this new movie?
This is my last week. We wrap Friday. So
Wow. So how many weeks is that?
I started in November, so it's pretty long. Then we had a little bit of a delay, for like a 2-week period, but then we were back on track. So yeah, so it's been going pretty steady since late November. So December, January, February. Yeah, we're in a good 3 months.
Right.
I mean, everything has been so strange because of the epidemic and, all the rules. I mean, they're very strict and they're very protective of everyone on set, which is great. You have that sense of confidence when you go to work. We're tested 5 times a week.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it makes you feel, it makes you feel good, and and we follow all the protocol and stuff like that. So it's a good feeling. Even though we got vaccinated last month, I'm still being tested 5 times a week. So, and I won't change anything. I mean, I still wear my mask. I do all the right things. We ain't in Texas, honey.
No, we're not. No. Mother's very upset.
She came over to notify me last night. No masks in Texas anymore. Statewide law.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah,
that's
she came
crazy.
over to deliver the
Yeah,
news.
that's what we're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, that's it.
They passed the law. It's not the Texans.
No,
I
it's
love
not the
Texans.
Texans, but
They
I
didn't pass
just
the law.
know-
The governor took down the mandates.
Yes.
Well, I just find that so bizarre.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost there. If we
Yeah,
could
so
just be a
why?
little
Yeah,
bit
just be a little more patient.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
but
little-
people are impatient, and it's all about them, and they don't really care. It's all about them.
Well, I'd rather, you be impatient than become a patient.
Yes,
Ooh, what a good
yes,
line.
that's very good. Yeah, that is a good line. I mean, I thought I was being so careful, and I really was. And the entire season of filming, we never got COVID. And then I was eating at an outdoor restaurant, freezing my ass off, and I got COVID.
Oh,
And
you did? I did hear about that.
Yeah, Joe and I, my mother, who actually, had it the least, shockingly, my Marlene, Lexi,
Yeah.
we were super, it was
Yeah,
like
we
went
all
right
came
through our
down.
family, right before Christmas. So it was terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like you do not want to get this. I mean, some people
No.
do have it that badly, but you don't want to get
No.
this shit.
No.
Well, I
No.
just discovered someone that I was with a few months ago, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax." But I just discovered this morning that this person was sick for 3 weeks.
I know, good. Not good, but I'm saying, was
I
the
know
person,
you feel bad, but
you
you
feel
like,
bad,
have
but
to
when
smile
someone
a
who
little
says
bit.
it's a hoax and gets it, then
I don't feel bad.
No, then you don't feel
Because
bad.
they went out and basically asked for it by saying it was a hoax and nobody dies from it, and 500,000 people haven't died in this country. That's all politics. And I thought,
Oh
well,
my, that's
what happened to
nonsense.
us listening to doctors? Suddenly now we listen to senators that for 50 years we know they lie to us, and now suddenly everybody thinks that they're the last word on everything.
I know.
I just got interviewed for there's a new show called It's a Sin, and it's on HBO. It's about the AIDS crisis during the 80s.
Yes.
So I was interviewed for a side documentary about the show and about that time, because we had lost so many friends. So anything that you can relate this to in a sense, but at least we fought through that. And when we found out what we can do to protect ourselves, very few people resisted that. We were like, thank God we know what we can do to stay safe. And you had a choice, you know? I don't understand. We have the same things now where you're saying, if you do this, if you do that, and we're so close to a cure for this, where AIDS is still not cured. It might be manageable.
It's manageable.
40 years. So if you're impatient for 12 months and all you're asking to do is wear a mask, because trust me, when somebody asked me to wear a condom, I wore 2. Somebody asked me to wear a mask,
you're a double bagger. Exactly.
I'm a double.
Right. And one would much rather wear a mask.
You know, and I much, and just to dispel any rumors, I think it sucks having to wear a mask. It's annoying me. I have to smell, I have to taste, I have to cook, I have to do all the things that require these senses. You know, I don't enjoy wearing a mask, but I do enjoy breathing and I enjoy being healthy. And if it just means that if I can do that to keep the people I love safe and I can keep myself safe, bring it on. I mean, listen, I wear one on Halloween anyway.
Yeah, it's true. You know what I don't understand, and I've said this, and when people argue with me, I'm just like, well, is the medical community wrong to the fact is, do you want your surgeon, like all my friends, when you're getting your plastic surgery, you know, not wearing a mask? When you're laying on top, why do all the doctors wear it in the operating room or the OR? I said, are they wrong all these years? Everybody's been wearing a mask in surgery when you're having a procedure. So what if you don't believe in masks?
Anybody who's skeptical can go online and see like 3 different video reports showing what happens when you wear a mask and when you don't wear a mask. If you cough, when you breathe, when you sneeze, you can see how far the particles go with and without a mask.
I know.
Forget the politicizing any of this stuff. The reality is, we don't get a cold. We're all the things that we're doing, all this protocol that's in place is helping us in a million other ways too. Not only preventing COVID, but from even just getting the flu or getting a cold or a lot of things, because we're practicing the things to keep us safe and keep us healthy. So if we look at it in the positive and we do the things we have to do long-term to keep us in a good place, maybe that's how we have to look at it. Not like so-and-so says you have to wear a mask. So-and-so says you don't. You're a bad person if you do, you're a bad person if you don't. Let's just get rid of all that stuff. Let's just get healthy and get on with it.
I agree.
Yeah?
Let's talk about something else. What are you both watching now on what are your must-sees now? Is anybody watching anything?
Oh, you know what I love? I just finished watching the 2nd season of The Alienist.
Oh, should I watch that? I haven't watched The Alienist.
I love it. Well, you know, do you remember the book by Caleb Carr was published, easily 10 years ago? It was a massive, massive hit.
Yes, I do know the book, and I always see it show up on my TV to watch as a recommendation.
I love it. You know, of course, Luke Evans is in it, and they have given him the most beautiful clothes for the time period. I mean, it looks like the time period clothes, but it's so beautiful. Every scene, he's got a new outfit or a new suit, and you can't go, but ooh, look at how beautiful that suit is. You know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm watching Alan versus Pharaoh, so I'm in my 2nd episode.
Oh, I must watch that. Everyone says it's great. The Mia Farrow.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it gets even more so now. I'm in the 2nd, and it's even starting to really unravel. And because at first you're just sort of taking it in and not really having an opinion, and then you start to form a little bit more by the 2nd episode. So I think there's 4 in total. So this 2nd one has already got me curious now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it winds up.
So is Ronan Farrow Frank Sinatra's son?
No.
Which one do they say is Frank Sinatra's son? Ronan, no?
That's the one they said, but no, because he does look like him. But then if you really look at him, he definitely has Mia's genes.
No, Mia's genes, but who else is?
But the father.
Who's the father?
But
who do we think
Woody Allen.
Does he have any Woody in him? Does he have Woody's genes at all, you think?
I haven't seen his Woody, but from what I heard.
I don't know. It's a little suspect.
Yeah, the timeline is completely.
You'll have to read my new
Off with that,
Sinatra
but-
book coming out in June.
I will
his
definitely read it.
Best friend, and he claims definitely not possible because he knows where he and Frank were
Yeah,
when she
it's
would
not-
have had
the
to have
timeline
gotten
is not
pregnant.
quite right.
Okay, so all right, listen, I'm with
cleared
that. I love it. So it's cleared
Yeah.
up. That's good.
And then also the Billie Holiday, the United States versus Billie Holiday. That's
Well, she
really,
won,
really,
right? She won
really,
the
really
Golden
good.
Globe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm watching? Lady and the Dale.
Oh, I saw that.
Do you love it? I'm going through it now.
You know, I really, really liked it. And I think it was just, she had such a missed opportunity because of the timing and because of there was some crookedness in her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But she was so smart and could have been all the things that she wanted to be, but that there was a crooked part of her that stopped it.
It's so mesmerizing, the whole story. I am just so intrigued.
Yeah. I love the fact that she was so loyal to the people that worked for her.
Yes, and her children love her.
To the wife,
Mm.
who they maintain this amazing friendship throughout her entire life. So I thought that was quite interesting. And I found her captivating.
I did too. That's the whole thing. It's like, even though she broke the law and did all these things, I was still intrigued.
Yeah, very.
And really liked her. I couldn't
Yeah,
help
so
it.
did I. So did I. I could definitely do a shot of tequila with that one for sure.
Yeah, great. It's a great story. So I want to watch it.
There's a little something in a lot of brilliant people that have I mean, a lot of crooks that could be brilliant, but there's that one thing that screws them up. I mean, look at what was his name? Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
What a brilliant career, what a brilliant life he could have had. But there's that one thing, that self-destruction in himself that he just could not get over, that he had to go after people and rob them and to his own community is, you know what I mean? The worst, because he had some hatred right from when he was a kid that he just couldn't get past. Greed is a killer too.
And then the ego on top of that.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, the ego's a killer. Those two, that combination, there's no success there.
Okay.
It's just biding time.
Yes, it's the cockiness.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cockiness. of
Like
it
those
all.
housewives, once they start with the greed and the ego, forget it.
Forget it. They're the worst. The greed and the ego housewives.
The Grego.
And they get them on the taxes too. They make $100 million and they don't want to pay 30 of it to taxes. It's like, can you really tell the difference of $70 million and $100 million? What,
No.
you can't, you have to eat at McDonald's once this week to make up the difference?
I know. Well, I'm eating on McDonald's. I was on McDonald's. I mean, McDonald's is one of my favorite meals. When I need to
I
feel
saw
good.
your
I love
IG
it.
with the burger and the.
That was from
fries
my book cover shoot. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
was,
that was
I
that
mean,
was, yeah.
Yes, there's nothing that I love more than a good McDonald's cheeseburger and French fries. There is something about it just makes you feel like home. I don't know what it is. I just, it eases all the pain of the day when you're feeling shitty. So what are some must reads right now, Alan?
Oh, on the reading.
Reads? Oh, you've caught me off guard. You mean current things that are out or things that I have
Yeah,
coming in?
whatever, or current things that are out. What do you think that people, have to read? What are some must reads?
Because it has come back. It's come back.
Reading
during
is
this
back
time.
big time. I mean, all the publishers are reporting, profits this year. Of course, the Sinatra book, I think, is going to be really, really interesting.
I think so too.
And if you want a children's book that's based on some fact, I mean, the new Audrey Hepburn children's book is quite good.
Do you
It's
work with
called-
children's books, Alan?
I don't on a normal basis, but because I've been with the family of Audrey Hepburn for 25 years, when they decided they wanted to do a children's book, I did that book. There's a great book coming in the fall. It's a illustrated book. A lot of people would call it a coffee table book, but in publishing, we call them illustrated books. And it's all about the Carpenters.
Ah,
Yeah, and by
I
the way,
love
who
Karen
knew,
Carpenter.
Story.
What a story.
Tragic.
who knew that the Carpenters sell as much music today as they ever
then,
did?
yeah.
They
First of
are
all,
I believe
huge.
I listened to as much
drove
Carpenters today.
home. We listened to the Carpenters. I was singing on the top of my lungs, crying. It's magnificent.
Yeah. No, and the book is going to be beautiful with photos you've never seen and stories from Richard Carpenter that nobody's ever heard. And he's been very, very quiet throughout the years, but he's decided he'd like to sort of straighten up some of these facts that are out there that are not correct. And he's done some interviews, and but they're amazing. The more I got into it and learned about it, I was really shocked. But
I'll have that book. I will definitely be getting that book.
Yeah, and their Christmas album is something like in its 28th year of bestsellers at Christmas time. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think something, I mean, now I feel like I'm sounding like someone's grandmother. The music nowadays, just doesn't move me the way, I listen to so much 70s and old disco, yacht rock, and yacht rock station. I don't know if I love everything that reminds me of the smell of copper tone and when I was growing up. Is it that it brings back memories? Has something changed? Am I nuts? Because Lexi's younger than me by more than 10 years.
But I feel the same way, because relationships, memories, moments were all captured in song for us through lyrics. Like singing Whitney Houston songs for The Boy That Broke My Heart when I was 14. What are kids singing now? Like, what think
back, you're going to go back 20 years and go, we met, remember the music on the thing,
it brings you immediately back. But now, when our parents or grandparents, and we listen to their stories how they fell in love and what was playing then. Every time I hear a song, I say, oh, that was my parents' song. Yeah. Or that was the song my parents fell in love to, or the ones that my grandmother's married 5 times. All the time she fell in love, all the songs. Here's the anthology my grandmother fell in love to.
Yes.
But what about kids now? We're gonna go, or 20 years from now, when their parents, when they talk about their kids talk about their parents, well, it's gonna be like, baby got back, big booty bitch, big booty bitch. We fell in love to that. They're gonna rout on the dance floor at 65, at 70, twerking.
I know. Listen, Taylor Swift though has an amazing album out. Folklore, people love it. It's amazing. I feel like it's much deeper. It is retro.
Yeah, she's
you can relate to it. She's a singer-songwriter.
That many anymore.
So you can relate to it.
And that's the difference.
And that's the
difference.
We've
had great songwriters, and we still, and there, Carole King and amazing songwriters, and Carol Bayer Sager. There's so many brilliant people but that's what we've lost. We've stopped falling in love, and we forgot how to do that. We forgot how to romance each other and how to sing. Even music itself has sort of disappointed itself. There's no melody. Everything is the same beat, and everything is done in the studio. There are no musicians. Who plays a violin when you can just push a button?
And it's sad also because I think we got very reliant on video imagery to support music, where when I listen to a Carole King, like if I listen to the Tapestry album, the imagery is all there in my head. Mm-hmm. The songs, I sing the songs to my kids when they're going to sleep. Like those are like beautiful songs that weave images. Now we just rely on all this visual stuff to tell a story, and we lost the essence of story.
And the story is this long because there's only one piece of the story. It's over and over. It's like a parrot tune. Yeah. Polly want a cracker? Polly want a cracker?
How are we going to change this? How are we going to change this?
It'll change. I think it's
cycles, just I don't know. Yeah. This is a tough one.
I thought this would go away a long time ago.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I feel like that's why I love, CMAs or Grammys?
Oh,
like better.
Grammys.
Neither. I'd rather, the Country Music Awards still have the songwriters are still writing stories. Yes. They're telling stories.
That's why I like this.
And I like that music for that reason, because they tell you a story. And I love the irony of the story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when it's a real love story, it's a real love story. And when they're pissed off about something, it's hilarious and it's a real story. And there's no bullshit attached to it. Yes. But it's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they still sing.
I love the CMAs only because the fashion is magnificent. They still bring the high glamour. They do.
Well, did you see it last year? Did you see it last year though, during the pandemic?
No, I didn't see it. No, award shows for the pandemic is like a washout.
It was really.
Yes.
Really
Actually, I did do it. I did watch it because they were doing it from their own homes. Yes, I sat in my living room and they zoomed it in.
No, they had people in the audience. They were all in separate booths.
Oh, what were we zooming in that people were seeing?
That was the
Golden
Globes.
I don't know what the hell nonsense was going on. I can't watch a show.
Well, you know what? If you love disco music, you should listen to our upcoming podcast. We're going to have Linda Clifford on.
Tomorrow.
We're actually going to talk about, music and how it's changed over the years. So it feeds right into this.
I just love everything disco. I mean, I listen to Studio 54 on Sirius Radio. I could be dancing around the house. Everything about disco. I'm just
it was brilliant.
Disco in this house.
I mean, it was just a fun time, and that's all we did. I mean, I told you when I saw your picture from when you were out in Paris, and I said, my God, we would have been out every night.
Yes, we would have been out every night. That was Limelight, actually.
Uh-huh.
I was at the Limelight, and those were the days. I was a little young for Studio 54.
Yeah, we caught the second round. We didn't get the first.
The second round, I was Limelight, Palladium, Rock, that thing.
Roxy, yeah. The thing that's very disappointing too, and that has completely gone south, is the Met Gala. That's
yes. How did that happen?
So devastating.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, we need a resurgence. Well,
it is
they say after a pandemic.
Yeah, the Roaring 20 will be coming.
Really, you don't like all those crazy dresses?
No, because it's not how it started. I mean, Diana Vreeland would be rolling in her grave.
Now that's a great documentary, the Diana Vreeland documentary.
Oh, she's amazing. She was amazing. I knew her granddaughter quite well, actually, but
there's a book worth reading. DV.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally.
Yes, I mean, I could sit on the sofa, watch documentaries all day. So, Joey, I mean, we're going all over. It's like the ADD of interviews.
I like that.
I do too. What is your...
Okay, back to us. You're right. Back to us.
Back to you guys. So sorry. What is your favorite meal? If it was your last meal, not that it will be, but I'm just saying. What would you eat if it was your last meal?
Crow. No.
I love you.
It's funny how it's become this thing with me that it's really not about, I take myself out of the equation completely when it comes to cooking for myself, because I'm so simple. For me, it's so easy. I'd rather throw something on the grill. Always vegetables are big on my plate for myself. So grilled vegetables are my favorite, or roasted vegetables. Probably if I'm gonna, I don't have, I'm not a favorite person. I don't have that in my thing. If you asked me a favorite song, I couldn't tell you. I could tell you what's my favorite in the moment.
In the moment. Let's do in the moment.
But to plan a favorite something.
Okay, tell me in the moment what's your favorite thing to eat.
It would have to be something. I love paella. Something with fresh seafood, something that's got that flavor and that, I love that. I love a great steak, like really good filet that's just seared and charred. Like I said, I really love the barbecue. I like a lot of Southern cooking. I love that because it comes from a real place. It comes from a place of comfort and tradition and history. And I love to cook Southern food, and then it's the kind of food that you can actually cook where you really invite people that love to eat. So you don't have to deal with, well, I'm a vegan, or I don't do butter, I don't do salt, and you also don't do my dinner party, because that night.
You can invite us, but we're the eaters.
Yes, if to answer the question in a roundabout way, I would do, my last meal would be everything I'm not supposed to have, because it wouldn't matter the next day, because I'm dead. Yeah.
Exactly. Alan, what is your meal of the moment now?
Well, you know what? I'm a shellfish guy. I love crab and lobster and oysters, clams. I love all that stuff. But I especially love, my new thing is, I love those baked crab rolls that you get, at sushi places and things. I love that. It's kind of soft and melts in your mouth. And
I like that.
Yeah, so I love that, and I like a lot of the baked sushi rolls. People don't usually think of them, but there's 3 or 4 good ones where they actually bake them, and they're fantastic.
I like that.
So that would be my thing.
That's very good. Okay, now I'm going to ask Alan. So, because you work with so many authors, and I know you work with more established people, what advice could you give somebody who's looking to write a book? Like, you know, a lot of people use ghostwriters. What's like the first step?
Make sure you can write.
Or just get a ghostwriter.
Or get a ghostwriter. If you can't write, you're going to have to swallow your ego and get someone to help you. But I think, and by the way, I have a lot of people who are, you know, that have never been published before as clients, and we help them get published. But, you know, first, you have to have a story to tell, especially if you want to write fiction. You know, there needs to be a great story, and there's always, you know, I always look for that hook. You know, Girl on the Train, all those things. They have those great hooks where you have to know what's happening.
Yes.
And, you know, but if you're writing fiction, you have to write it yourself. It's really hard unless, you know, you're Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton who hooks up with a big, you know, fiction writer to write fiction. But, you know, if you want to write fiction, you have to be able to write. That's number one. If you're writing nonfiction, you don't necessarily have to be able to write. You can have somebody help you. Or a lot of times, you know, you're doing a lot of research and you're getting it down on paper. But, you know, the easiest thing to do is to get a proposal together. You know, here's what my book's about. Here's other books that are like it. Here's, you know, 3 sample chapters. Here's my platform and why I think this book would sell. It's sort of like all the obvious things you might think of. How do I sell a book? And if you put them all in the presentation, then at least you're ready to go out to people and agents or publishers who can then help you maybe clean it up or, you know, get it a little bit nicer. But it's not that complicated. But you can't go into it thinking, oh, I'll write a book so I can be rich and famous. You know, it's the wrong reason to go into acting. It's the wrong reason to go into music. It's the wrong reason to go into a lot of things. You have to go into it, especially writing. It's a very lonely business. You're sitting at home, you know, at your computer. So you have to love it and you have to really want to do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm on my 5th year. I have my own column for Eden magazine. I write for them. It's called The Way I See It. And I think I've written about 100 articles now. It comes out every month. And it's interesting because I always know when the publisher lets me know when, you know, I know when it's due, when it has to be in. And I don't even start thinking about what I want to talk about until that date that I know I have 5 days to turn it in. And then I completely close off. I go into a cocoon and I'm out of, and in an hour I said what I want to say and I've written the article. But it is that place you just have to shut down everything and go deep inside, think and listen to yourself, and then express yourself, you know, in whatever story you're going to tell or whatever opinion or thought you might have to make it into something. And that's just an article. So you can imagine what it takes to write a book or a,
believe me, we lived it. I did it during the season, and poor Lisa, who works with me, and Lexi, who's here, I mean, had to sleep over literally for 3 weeks, you know, because after I got back from the ghostwriter, like I was saying, it's just like, that was the basis, but that wasn't the story.
It was the skeleton.
It was the skeleton. And to really give it my own voice and put the secret sauce and everything that needed to go into it and really sound like me, you know, was 20, you know, every night till 2 in the morning,
it's
crying,
hard
having
to
a
remember
breakdown.
all the stories because you start and then more come to you and you're like, oh, we got to get it all in.
Yeah, it was so therapeutic.
Yeah,
you have to be involved. You have to be involved and want to be involved. I can't tell you how many people come to me and they say, okay, I've hired a ghostwriter and they're going to write this for me and they're going to write that. They've had nothing to do with it. They haven't even read their own book before it's published because they just do it for money. And it's just not a good way to go into a book. You know, if you're going to do it, get involved, have something to say, at least read through your book. I mean, I've actually seen authors that couldn't talk about their book very well when they're being interviewed about it because they never really read it.
Oh, that's terrible. I literally read my book at least 20 times, did the audio, you know, relived it.
That way.
Back to the podcast a second. Talk about some of the guests you've had, because I want everyone to know that you guys have had such besides me and Dolores, had such amazing guests.
You were our premiere.
You were
our very first guest.
Our debut.
So just name some of the guests you have.
We're really happy with the guests because they're really broad, but you know they're across the board. And we had you and Dolores, and then
David Yontef, which was really fun.
Little David Yontef. I know, that's so cute.
We had a fun, dishy afternoon with him.
He dished, we didn't.
He dished, we served.
He dished. You had Susan DePass, right? We
had Phil Rosenthal on. You know, he was the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond, and now he's got that hit show on Netflix, Somebody Feed Phil, and he was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
And then we've had on
Hector
Bereaster, who is a DEA agent
from Narcos.
And they've done the
good.
Amazon 4-part documentary is based on him, as is Narcos Mexico. He's a very interesting guy, a real tough guy. I mean, he's as charming as could be, but he'll shoot you in the back of the head.
Yeah, cut your finger off. Janice Dickinson, we had a blast with her.
Yes, you're friends with Janice. That's great, and she's happily married
We've been
now.
friends for 20 years, so that was fun catching up. And we only scratched the surface because we don't want to scare people away right in the beginning. She'll be back. And we'll tell
she'll be back.
Our R-rated version on the next go round.
Suzanne DePass is coming up.
That's very exciting, Suzanne DePass. I can't wait to hear that one.
She's great.
She's
I love
great.
her to death.
Yeah.
We had Janine Shepard on, that's this week. If you go listen now or last week, depending. Her story is amazing. This is a woman who is training for the Olympics in Australia as a cross-country skier. And while out on her bicycle during training, she got hit by a truck and it snapped her spine. And
quadriplegic.
They said she would never walk again. And one day she sort of looked up and saw a plane and she said, if I can't walk, I'll fly. And she became, not only did she learn to fly, she became an aerobatic flying instructor.
And a commercial pilot.
So amazing, this woman. She's positive. Nothing stops her.
She taught herself to walk
again.
They said she'd never have children. She had 3.
Oh,
wow.
That's
an amazing story.
Who's your dream guest?
Oh.
Well, it was funny. We had dinner with Joan Collins the other night, and she was asking us about the podcast. We were tempting her to come on, so we were teasing her a little bit. So that could be a surprise guest. That may happen because she's leaning toward that.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and she's so interesting.
There's so many
dream guests. Yeah,
we have a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people I would love to interview.
Yeah,
from politicians to, I mean, there's so many.
And it goes back to what we were talking about with music and with books. Someone that's got an interesting story and a way to express it. I like a storyteller. Even if it's about you, it's about your day, your emotions, your relationships, whatever it's about. As long as it's coming from a real place, and I think that would be an ideal guest. If somebody to sit there and we have to prod it, a nightmare guest.
That is a nightmare guest. There's someone who's so shallow. I can't stomach those.
Yeah, I mean, if I want a bird bath, I'll go in the front. I'll go outside.
I agree.
I think we're very lucky. Everyone we've had has been very open, very deep, very free.
Well, it's reflective. You guys are that way too. You can't. How could you be with 2 beautiful women that have something to say and mean, and then just sit there and not be affected by it?
I know.
I know.
It's bizarre.
But we're lucky that you guys came on. We ask everybody who comes on here. I always say my success, and Lexi, I think she's on board with this.
Yeah.
My success is 50% delusion, 50% determination.
She's totally delusional now.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I'm a little girl, you believe my own hype right from the beginning. What percentages are you guys?
Yeah. I'm definitely 75% ambition. That I definitely have. I wake up every day with that in mind to go after whatever. There is no I can't with me.
Yes.
And then a good 25% is my humility, because I am very humble for everything that I accomplish and what's around me. So I'm aware of those things. So I say that's how my balance.
So what about you, Alan?
Well, I think my delusional quotient is pretty low. I mean, even when we started this podcast, everybody's like, well, why would you be 2 guys from Hollywood? There's so many bigger names in Hollywood. We kept saying, no, it's not about being a big name in Hollywood. It just so happens that Joey and I happen to be 2 guys working and living, and we, came from sort of Hollywood. We grew up here in essence.
Yes.
And so it was never about that. So my delusion's very low. I sort of know where I am in pecking order. And I would say, the same thing. It's my ambition, and I do the same thing. I jump up in the morning and I can't wait to get to my iPad and look at my emails and see what's going on. And, I enjoy what I do. So, and that's what I would encourage anybody, do what you love first. You'll figure out how to make money out of it
later. Yeah.
I agree.
I love that.
And is there any, I always say there's a lot of big girl and big boy panty moments in life. What was your big girl or big, you guys are big boys, but your big boy panty moments when you were just like, holy shit, this is my sink or swim moment?
Yeah, I've had a few. I mean, I've had some personal tragedies that I've had to put my pants on for, real big boy pants for. You know, I lost my mother when she was young. You know, she was 50, and we were out. My mother was the most beautiful, amazing, glamorous woman you'd ever know, and you would adore her. Personality, everything had going for her. And we were out on a New Year's Eve, out with, of all people, the Khashoggis, Adnan Khashoggi and his daughter. We were at a big party in Beverly Hills, and she didn't feel well. And it was that next day, and she put my hand on her, and I felt the bump. And she said, and I said, oh my God, we got to, how long have you known this? She says, for a while. She was afraid, and she just kept it to herself. She wasn't that kind of a person that would draw attention that way, or, you know, and she died 6 months later.
Oh,
and it was the hardest time of my life, but the best, in the sense that I had to, everything that was important made sense, and everything shifted in my life, you know, but into the best way. And then here's just an interesting thing, not to take this to a whole other level, but she and my father had been married for 25 years, were divorced for 10. And when he found out that she was going through this thing, he immediately had her move into his house. He took care of every single thing, all the doctors, all the personal trainers and chef and everything that she could need or want, and brought the whole family together. We all moved back home, my brother, myself, my best friend Philip, who you met.
Yes.
We all moved into my father's guest house, and we determined to find the miracle. And the miracle we found was not that she made it through, but the miracle we found is that we made it through.
Yes, and that you were all so close.
And the beauty of that is he and she fell in love all over again.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that story.
So that whole thing became that circle closed itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and that's so beautiful. Yeah, I love that story.
So those were the big boy pants for me.
That you want me to follow that story?
All right, Alan, sorry.
I'll tell a story, and you can put mine first when you edit. You can put mine first, then
okay, fine.
But I think they're similar. You find, you know, when Mary Lazar died and Irving Lazar died, and I had to move, you know, I had mortgages and things to pay, and now suddenly I had to move to a new company. I was one of the partners. It was 3 of us. You know, you have to start making money and paying your own bills and paying other people's salaries. And, you know, it's a very panicky moment. And it was, you know, tough. And for about a year, it was really tough because, you know, your income was scattered, and even though in publishing you may be working, and, you know, the monies don't come in all in the front. And so, you know, I had to get it together and stand on my own and pull together my own business and pay rents and, you know, medical and all the things you have to pay for employees. It's a little scary.
I know. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I get it. Listen, I'm always waiting for my business, this one to pay, that. I get it. I know it is scary.
The juggle is real, not just the struggle.
Yeah, especially if you have a mortgage and you're thinking, oh my God, you know, if I can't pay the mortgage, you know, do I have to sell the house? You start panicking about things. And you know, I was lucky and it pulled together. And I also had a partner at the time, a business partner, who was making more money than I was, or the third partner was. So on a few of those weeks where we thought, are we going to get a salary, you know, a paycheck this week, he contributed so that we could make our bills. And then, you know, we paid him back later, of course. But, you know, without that, I don't know, may not have made it.
Well, you know, you look at people that are, you know, approaching their 80s and this and that, and you go, who's got that much money to live that well at 90 or 100? They say, I want to live to 100. It's like, who's got that much money to live to 100 these days, especially living the way that we live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next year.
Please. I was raised that way. I was very fortunate growing up. I didn't need for anything, but my taste has always been that same way. But then my father was taking care of it, and my mother was saying, now I have to take care of it.
It's true.
Alan still, you know, I just bought a Maserati for myself for Christmas. I said, you know what? Why not? I can afford it. I just don't know for how much longer.
How many weeks?
I get it. You know what though? But it is true. This pandemic really taught us anything. You have to live in the moment.
Life is for living.
Life is for and it's life is short, right? And you have to enjoy every minute. Who thought we were going to go through this? Well, I just want to thank you guys so much, Joey and Alan.
Thank you.
Guys from Hollywood. This was so fun. I so appreciate
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you both so much.
Just tell everyone where they could find you.
Yes.
Also.
Two Guys from Hollywood, twoguysfromhollywood.com, Two Guys from Hollywood at Two Guys from Hollywood for Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Two Guys from Hollywood on Facebook. But it's easy just to go to Apple Podcasts or anywhere where you listen to your podcasts and look up Two Guys from Hollywood.
You guys
There we are.
so professional. Thanks, guys. Thanks, my Two Guys from Hollywood. Mwah.
Bye.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
I love you. See you soon.
That was amazing. They're so hysterical. And listen, they don't sweat the small stuff. And they've had interesting lives.
Very interesting lives.
They have interesting guests on their podcast. I love to interview other people who have podcasts and hear their point of view.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting how people get into podcasting, why they get into podcasting. And I think I do enjoy listening to podcasts where there's genuine friendship between the co-hosts.
Like me and you.
Like us.
That have a history together.
They have 30 years of friendship.
I know. And by the way, I've eaten Joey's meals. They're fabulous. Alan has the great Frank Sinatra book coming out. The story about Frank Sinatra.
And written by Frank Sinatra's best friend.
Best friend. Yes.
It is interesting because a book written by your best friend, that's an interesting perspective.
It's true.
Because, you know, we're a little delusional. I also realized while we were in that conversation, I don't think I'm delusional and determined. I think I'm 75% optimism, 25% grit.
I think that's very good. Okay, so not delusion. I mean, I don't know. Is delusion eternal optimism? I don't know.
Yes, it is. It is for sure. But I think optimism and grit might be a good way for me to think about it.
Hey, good. You know what I am? 100% fucking tired. So, caviar dreamers, I love you. I'm tired.
Oh,
Keep dreaming, caviar dreamers.
don't snooze on this podcast, though. You can find us every week on a Wednesday at Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget. Anyway, you might hear a podcast.
You can find me at The Real Margaret Josephs.
Me at The Life of Mrs. B, and just at Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget ever. And pre-order your copy of the book.
Yes, pre-order, because there's so much you don't know about me. Just saying.
Keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming, caviar dreamers. Bye.